In almost 3 months, 13 inmates have been released from prison in Oregon with COVID-19. We're going to zero in on one case earlier this year. 2 inmates were released from a prison on Oregon's coast and sent back to their home counties. Soon after, prison officials realized they had a problem. Those inmates had tested positive for the virus. The Department of Corrections had administered the tests before releasing the inmates, but didn't get the results until after. A spokesperson told us that the 2 inmates were asymptomatic. This happened back in April. State Senator Michael Dembrow, who confirmed the story to KGW this week, called it a hiccup with potentially dire repercussions.
We want to make sure that there is, testing of anyone upon release, or they've been quarantined for a couple of weeks, just so we can be absolutely certain that the communities that people are being released to are kept safe as well.
Numbers spike inside the Oregon State Penitentiary and other prisons. Dembrow is one of several lawmakers pushing the governor to release inmates. In particular, they want Governor Kate Brown to prioritize older, medically fragile inmates who have completed most of their sentences for nonviolent crimes. They estimate that would take close to 2,000 people out of Oregon's prisons, letting those left inside keep their social distance. The governor says she's considering releasing close to 100 inmates. Oregon's prisons contain close to 15,000 people. Advocates with the Oregon Justice Resource Center have sued the state. They argue letting more go free and preventing prisons from turning into COVID hotspots would protect all of us, since staff and inmates are bound to leave prison at some point.
There is real concern that if we see a second wave of COVID-19 in the fall, as some people are saying we may do, that we could see further outbreaks and a further worsening of this.
As for the 2 COVID-positive inmates who in April walked out of Sutter Creek Correctional Institution in North Bend, we don't know their names. The DOC tells us they live in Coos County and Douglas County. We're told the state contacted both counties' health departments who warned the inmates to self-quarantine. Neither county experienced an outbreak. The DOC says they've added new COVID risk screening protocols, but they admit it can take up to a week to get results on an inmate's COVID test, and they can't keep inmates past their legal release date, meaning it's possible for more inmates to leave prison before the state realizes they have the virus. Maggie Vespa, KGW News.